Hey, welcome everyone. This is Walking the Financial Highline with Highline Financial Coaching. My name is Matt, and I'm extremely excited to be with you today and talk more about how to improve your finances and get into a better position. So today or this week has been a crazy week. Working with a lot of different people. I also had a buddy this last week that called me up and asked me to help with one of his podcasts. And I had a great podcast with him. I can't wait for it to launch. I'll post it when it's ready. But it was a podcast that took us about an hour and a half. And we went over so many different things pertaining to finances, to life, to real estate, to investing. And it got me thinking about a different topic that we would talk about today, because there's a lot of people out there that are trying to get into real estate. You may want to do an Airbnb. And so today we're going to go over the finances of getting into an Airbnb. And part of the podcast that I did this last week got me thinking about how my wife and I got into our first Airbnb and how we made it possible. And there was a lot of different steps that we took. Some of them were on purpose. Some of them were on accident, trying to get there. And so today we're going to dive into that exciting world of Airbnb hosting and how to prepare your finances to acquire your first property. So whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time buyer, this video will help with valuable insights on how to make your Airbnb dreams a reality. So let's get started. So before we dive in, it is crucial to understand an Airbnb market that you desire to get into. So there's a couple different trains of thought here when you decide to get into an Airbnb market. Some people like to buy a vacation property in a nice location or a destination location, and they want to buy it so that they can visit it frequently. So one of the benefits of doing an Airbnb is that helps pay some of the cost of owning this property in a vacation location. So if you want to buy a property next to the beach, the first thing you want to do is make sure that location can rent. If you want to make that an Airbnb property, make sure that it's going to make you money in that location. Now, the other train of thought that people have when looking at an Airbnb is just to buy one as an investment. And if you're doing that, you want to analyze the area. You want to see that there's places that are being rented with Airbnb. And you also want to make sure that you're going to make money. So when we bought our first Airbnb, my brother owned a property in the same building. And we were working with his finances, getting him into a position to be able to buy that property. And he got in, and I was able to see how well that property did for the first couple months. I got to see it was running at an 80 to 90% occupancy. This was during COVID, and people were trying to do some staycations here. I live in Utah. This was in downtown Salt Lake. And it was doing extremely well. So the first thing you need to do is decide whether you want a vacation spot that you can visit frequently, or if you want one that's just going to make money and continue to be an investment for you. And as for me, I like buying in a location that's going to make money. If it's going to be a good place to grow in value and gain equity in the property, and then I can travel to the other locations that I want to be at. So we don't have a specific location that we want to visit all the time. So once you've decided that, then you can analyze the different areas. Do you want one that's close to your house? Do you want to help manage it? Do you want to get the property manager involved doing that? And so then you want to make sure you're in a position to buy that property. So a strong credit profile is essential for securing favorable financing terms. So if you've never bought a property before, you've never qualified for a mortgage or a loan, you want to be able to get into a position to handle that. You want to build up your credit score. You want to make sure that your income matches what the banks are looking for a mortgage. This is if you're going to put a mortgage on the property. So you want to dispute any inaccuracies that are on your credit report. Make sure that that is higher 650, 700, 750s. that's going to give you more favorable financing terms at that point. So when you get to the financing options, there are multiple options, including you can do conventional mortgages, FHA loans, and portfolio liens. Research each option carefully to determine which one aligns best with your financial goals and investment strategy. So if you've never bought a property before, this is buying an investment property or an Airbnb property is a good way to get your feet wet and get moving. So if you own a house right now, you're in a great position. If you've owned that house for 3 or more years, you're in a great position to be able to utilize that home and the equity in that home to be able to get into your first investment property. And that's something that we've coached people hundreds of times to do, is to be able to get into that position financially where you can in turn leverage that property and get into another one. So if you inherit money, or if you've got extra finances that you want to invest, this is a good opportunity to be able to utilize those, buy into something that is going to hopefully keep giving you residual income month after month. So when we bought ours, we did the conventional mortgage at that time. Interest rates were incredible. We got a great rate, got into a conventional mortgage. The monthly payment, the mortgage payment is very low, but we did, since it was an investment property, we had to put 20%, we had to put 25% down as the down payment. So again, there's different options for financing as you look into that. The one we did was a conventional with 25% down. So also, you want to make sure that your finances are in order. So by doing that, if you work on your own finances, make sure that you've got a lot of cash flow to be able to cover this property. You may not have any renters for the first 2, 3, 4 months. I know when we bought ours at the end of October, and it took us the whole month of November and part of December to get everything in place, get all the furniture in the house, and then we rented it the day after Christmas. The good thing that happened with ours is it rented for 45 straight days right after we put it on the market. And that was extremely helpful for us being newbies at this. We didn't know exactly what we were doing. And it also kept me from having to go up there and clean it all the time, because we were doing the cleaning, we were managing, we were doing all those different things. So I also recommend that you've got some sort of savings account or some rainy day fund, at least $10,000 per property that you own, because that'll give you, if something happens, like just recently, one of our guests said that the heater wasn't working. So I had my HVAC guy go up there, and the heater was 28 years old and it needed to be replaced. Those things can be huge investments, and you want to make sure that you've got the money available to make that transition. We had to have the HVAC guy come in and replace it on a Saturday when I didn't have anybody there. So he was able to do that, but that can be anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 depending on the size of the property. So make sure you've got a rainy day fund, some sort of line of credit, some sort of extra funding to be able to do that. So there's a lot of different things when looking at investment properties, and specifically Airbnb properties, to get into a position financially. This is something I love helping people do, is get into their first Airbnb, their 10th Airbnb, and get to that next level. But one of the main things you have to do is work on your finances. If your finances are in order and you've got a plan and you're in a good position, it makes it very easy. I've seen people jump into an Airbnb and not research the market, jump in at the wrong type of a loan, not be able to have the extra finances on hand to be able to weather the storm, and it can make it extremely miserable. It can either be one of your best investments or one of your worst investments. So let's make sure that it is one of your best investments. So if you found today's video helpful, or you know somebody that would be interested in getting into their first investment property, their first Airbnb rental, or their first Verbo, whatever it is that they're looking to get into investment wise, let's see where they're at with their finances and make sure that they can do that. in a very disciplined and safe way so that they protect their finances for many years to come. So again, my name is Matt. This is Walking the Financial Highline with Highline Financial Coaching. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe and look for our future videos. We'll continue to have those multiple times every week. And I will also post that podcast that I did with my buddy about real estate, about life, about investing. And I look forward to hearing your feedback on that. So again, this is Matt, and have a great week. Thank you.